thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So, how was your week?
It was a very productive week. So currently at my workplace, we are integrating with artificial intelligence. So I gave some productive ideas, and overall it was very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So, to start with, as you work as a data engineer, so
Yeah.
what it's like to be starting as a data engineer specifically in Australia?
That's a good question. So firstly, I've been working for the last 2 years as a data engineer at a property management company. So we help people rent and own properties in Melbourne. So currently, I'm working on rental defaulters and rental history data. So as a data engineer in Australia, you'll be mainly focusing on three different segments. First one is reporting, second one is migration, and third one is business intelligence. So I'll just give a brief overview. So with regards to reporting, so we usually make custom-made reports for our stakeholders to help better understand their business. So for example, one of the stakeholders for my company is a property manager. So we make a custom-made report of all the rent defaulters, and this will help the property manager to prioritize whom to approach and whom to not approach. And secondly, with regards to data migration, as a property management company, we acquire many other companies. So we work with other real estate companies. So while we are acquiring those companies, we migrate their data into our company. So we do a lot of data analysis and data wrangling, data extraction, transformation, and loading. And also with regards to data architecture, so we build data warehouses and to decrease the load on our database. And also, lastly, I would say with regards to business intelligence, we work on visualization tools such as Power BI to help the management better understand the business. So I would say that as a data engineer in Australia, I'm getting to learn a lot of new things which I haven't studied in my bachelor's or master's degree.
Okay. Okay. So, to cut it more, so what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So currently, a day-to-day in a junior data engineer's life in a property management domain would be segmented into 50% of reporting and 50% of data migration. So currently, I'm working on structured query language to build customized reports as per the stakeholders' requirements. So we do a lot of stakeholder management. We talk to the stakeholders, gather requirements, build customized reports in SQL, and also we work on data migration at the same time, as I was explaining previously. So in the day-to-day life of a data engineer, so it would be 40% coding, 20% exploring new technologies, and 40% stakeholder management.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what tech stack do you use? What tech stack do your particular company use?
Yeah, that's a great question. So currently we are using structured query language for all the database operations. So we use Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. We are using TSQL, so which is a variant of SQL language. And also we use Power BI for the business intelligence visualization. And we use Microsoft SQL Server reporting services to build customized reports. And we use Microsoft Azure for building pipelines and migrating data and doing all other stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So, did you do any certifications before applying for this particular job?
Not really. So before applying to this job, I did a lot of research on Microsoft Azure. So while I was studying my master's, I did some courses with regards to Microsoft Azure on Udemy and Coursera. So which really helped me. But most of my colleagues whom I'm working with did some basic level of certification, not only in Microsoft Azure, but with other cloud providers as well.
Okay.
Such as Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud Practitioner. So there are a lot of fundamental certifications. Currently in the Australian market, I would say that most employers are looking for fundamental certifications. So it is a proof that you are willing to explore new cloud technologies. So I would definitely recommend anyone who wants to start data engineering to explore various cloud technologies. Also saying that like you need not have certifications. So if you are able to answer questions in the interview, that should be enough as well. Like, yeah.
Okay. So I know like you were a student before getting this job.
Yeah.
So what was the process that you followed for getting this job, like going to a networking events or like tailoring your resumes or cover letters, etc.?
That's a great question actually. So I did my master's from Monash University in data science. So while I was doing my master's, my primary focus was more on data analysis and engineering. rather than becoming a data scientist. So ever since I was doing my masters, I was inclined towards becoming a data engineer. So while I was doing my masters, I was interacting with a lot of seniors who were already data engineers as well,
Okay.
to better understand the requirements. So they also recommended me the same things. They asked me to focus more on reporting, structured query language, cloud services, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, while I was pursuing my masters, so I also attended various career fairs when I was in my second semester, just to better understand how the market was. And once I graduated my masters, I started attending a few webinars on LinkedIn. And with regards to the process, so I would recommend this to everyone who's currently looking for jobs in Australia. So whenever there was a job advertised on LinkedIn, I used to apply, as well as I used to approach the person who created the job advert.
Okay.
So this increased my chances significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And also with regards to applying for jobs, I had three different resumes. One was for data analyst, one was for data engineer, and one was for data scientist, because all three professions require different tech stacks.
Correct.
And I utilized many resources online to prepare three different resumes and cover letters.
Mm-hmm.
And also with regards to applying for jobs, so while I was applying for jobs, I used to go through the description that was mentioned, and then customize my resume to match the keywords in the description.
Okay.
So as everyone would be knowing, Australia uses ATS, something known as ATS, which is Application Tracking System. So the more amount of keywords that you mention in your resume, the more the chances for you to get a job, or to get an interview.
Okay.
So yeah, there are many tools online that will help you analyze what percentage of keywords are matching. So you can just upload the job advert and resume, and I can tell you what is your probability to get an interview.
Okay. That's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, sure. I would also recommend anyone who's looking for a job to follow Austin Bellcat, if I'm not wrong. So he has his own website as well,
Okay.
in which you can use the resume scanner, wherein you can upload your job description and the resume, and it will tell you what areas you're lacking at as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll get many more cool tools like that online. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's a good like a good suggestion
Yeah.
for finding a new job. And the next thing is, as you have done a lot of research, so what's the average or a median salary, I can say, like as a junior data engineer anyone can get?
Yeah, sure. As a junior data engineer, as per my research, so the average salary in Australia is somewhere between 80 to 85,000. However, it is subject to the domain in which you're working. Like for example, if someone is working in retail, there are really big supermarket chains in retail. So in Australia, we have like Woolworths, Coles, Aldi. So I have seen people getting over 100K as well as a junior data engineer in those sectors. So yeah, so primarily it depends on how much skills you have. Like if you have more skills and if you have more exposure to various tech stacks such as cloud and then various programming languages, then you'll have an upper hand in getting a higher salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned before, like you have done your Masters of Data Science from Monash University. So what you have studied in your university is helping you in your current job?
Yeah, sure. So when I was doing my master's in data science, so my primary focus was advanced data analytics.
Okay.
So I emphasized more on data analysis algorithms, deep learning, and data architecture and database management. So I would say that my strongest area was database management. I emphasized a lot on database management in my first semester, as well as in my last semester when I was working on an industry experience project. So that was the first time where I got introduced to data engineering.
Okay.
So I would say that my fundamentals with database management helped me a lot, because 80% of my work that I do at the moment is with data architecture and database management. Although, like, even when I was doing my bachelor's in computer science, my favorite area was database management.
Okay.
So that helped me a lot. And just coming back to the industry experience, so I had never worked with agile development before, or I had never worked in the software industry before. So this was like my first job when I came to Australia.
Okay.
So there was a curriculum. So if anyone is doing masters by coursework, so everyone will be having industry experience project. I'm sure you must have
Yeah,
had as
correct.
well.
I had, yes.
So that is nothing but an amalgamation of various roles, like a business analyst, like a product owner, and like a data scientist and a developer and a data engineer. So it will be like an exact replica of what you will be doing in your industry. So I would say that that helped me the most because I got introduced to Amazon Web Services, although I did not take any subjects on cloud technology. So that was when I was first introduced to AWS, and I did a lot of research on how to build pipelines and stuff. So for anyone who is looking for a new job, so I would say that focus more on industrial experience, and while you are studying, also focus more on developing proficiency with structured query language or Python. So there are websites such as HackerRank and LeetCode, so which you could practice and improve your proficiency. So that would significantly help you. As you must have also seen, every job in Australia has a technical coding interview to begin with.
Correct.
And they usually give HackerRank or LeetCode problems to solve various test cases. So that would significantly help someone who is looking for a job. And also secondly, I would also emphasize them to familiarize with any cloud technology. So it need not be a specific one. So although my company works on Azure, so previously I had experience with AWS, so the concept of building a pipeline is very similar in Azure and AWS.
Okay.
So the underlying concept is what they focus on and the willingness to learn. So it shows that even though that was not in your university curriculum, you were willing to explore new things.
Okay.
So that would significantly help one person like who's looking for a role in data engineering. And with regards to non-technical skills, I would say stakeholder management and communication is a must. So there were many events in my university where I used to volunteer and stuff like that. So that significantly helped me to interact with people. So basically, as I explained previously, 40% of my role is stakeholder management. It is communicating with the business about the requirements and analyzing the requirements.
Okay.
So that is what.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned before, like you were a student. So did you do any part-time jobs while you were a student?
Yes, obviously. So I was working as a customer service representative in Woolworths, which is a supermarket chain in Australia. So yeah, I was working in the city, and I was working as a cashier, and I was stocking goods. I used to work like around 10 hours a week while I was studying, not much, because I wanted to maintain a balance between studying and working. Yeah.
So you mentioned about maintaining a balance. So any tips on time management, like how one can maintain both studies as well as a part-time job?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So if I'm not wrong, like everyone will be having 3 days of uni.
Yes.
Like even you had 3 days of uni. So all our classes can be managed in 3 or 2 days, and the rest would be for assignments. So I would say that like whenever you have 3 days of uni, so I would see to it that my classes were after 12 noon. I used to work in the mornings from 7 to 11 or 7 to 10, and then I used to attend uni for my classes, and that would help me. So I used to work like 3 days a week, so that would help me focus on my assignments and everything as well. And also when I graduated, I did not get a job immediately, so it took a while, like a month and a half. So during that time I was working early in the mornings, like from 6 to 10, and then I used to come back home and then focus on applying jobs, as most recruiters are available at 11:30 or 12. So that is a golden period. So anyone who's looking for a job in Australia, I would strongly recommend them to apply for jobs between 10 to 5, like rather than applying late at nights and stuff like that, because that is when the recruiters will be active as well. So that will be helpful for you to get your resume picked up as well, like as you have observed as well. Yeah.
So how much you used to spend when you were a student, like in a particular month?
So
average spending?
Yeah, I was subletting a house with a few other people, so that made my expenses a lot cheaper. So I was spending somewhere around 1,000 to 1,200, including my bills, groceries, and everything, because most of the time we used to cook at home. We never used to eat outside and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend like anyone coming to Australia, like don't eat outside much, and like that would significantly reduce the cost of living and stuff. Yeah.
So you mentioned about $1,000 to $1,200, right? Including all the groceries.
Groceries and bills. Because like if you sublet an apartment, you'll be sharing your room with someone else. So you can split your bills, and yeah, I know it's a bit inconvenient, but you'll get used to it. So, and moreover, my house was right next to my uni, so I was never spending on transportation. So it was like 500 meters. So you just used to go by walk. Yeah.
And the final question, like, what suggestions would you like to give to someone who wants to, for example, come to Australia, or who are already in Australia wants to pursue some junior data engineering role? So what's the advice would you like to give?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, I'll just break that question into two parts.
Yes.
For someone who is coming newly to Australia, so and wants to do data science or anything related to that field, I would strongly recommend them to go through all the courseworks of all the universities. So currently we have got over 40 to 50 universities offering data science.
Yes.
So I would strongly recommend them, like, what is their area of focus? Do they want to become a data scientist? Do they want to go to a university that is offering more statistics? If I'm not wrong, while we were doing our research, University of Melbourne was offering more on the mathematical side rather than the programming side, whereas RMIT and Monash was offering more on the programming. Yeah, so I would say that make sure that you research about the courses and make sure you research about the various career opportunities in Australia. So there are primarily 4 career opportunities for someone who is into data science. So the first one is data scientist, obviously. Second one is data analyst. Third one is data engineer, and the last one is BI developer. So yeah, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, no, you are correct.
Yeah, so these are the 4 major occupations. There are data architects and data warehouse experts as well, but those are very low. So these are the 4 main occupations. So depending on these occupations, you have to research which university gives the best courses and which university has the best industrial experience project. So if I'm not wrong, like RMIT, Monash, University of Melbourne, and Deakin, like in Melbourne, so these 4 universities have really good industry connections as well. So there are career fairs and stuff. So these are the various factors you have to look into before applying for any university in Australia. And secondly, for someone who is already in Australia and pursuing their masters, so rather than the courses in the university, I would recommend them to focus more on honing other skills as well. So they can spend time in Udemy courses, and they can also spend time in obtaining certifications through Coursera or giving fundamental certification exams such as cloud practitioners and all. So this would show their potential employer that they are having the ability and willingness to learn new things. Yeah, and also I would strongly recommend them to create a GitHub profile or a portfolio. So my portfolio, I did not create a website, but if you could, that would be really great. A WordPress website with a simple domain that you can host for less than like $10 per month. So that could show the recruiter that what you have done over the years. So that would be visually appealing as well. And that would be easy to understand, and that would show that you're really interested to get a job. So that would be the first step, like maintaining a portfolio. It could either be a GitHub or your website. And secondly, researching about the top companies in Seek and stuff. Like you can find out like which company has the most number of adverts, and also you can also find out what are the in-demand skills. So when someone is doing their masters, I strongly recommend them to have a look at the job descriptions in their 3rd semester or 2nd semester itself, so they can make a note of what are the skills that are in demand in Australia, and depending on that, they can focus on what certifications they could do or what they could research or what they could learn. So I would strongly recommend doing that. And while they're applying for jobs, I would recommend everyone to customize their CV and resume rather than just applying for like thousands of jobs. Yeah, so you could apply for 50 jobs and get 20 interviews when you customize your CV and resume. And yeah, the final step is the interview phase. Like while giving interview, not only the technical skills, but I would also advise anyone who's looking for a job to focus on the company values, company mission. Go to the company website and see what the company is doing, because that would be an integral part, and that would show that a person is interested to contribute to the business, and that will also help a person to secure that job easily.
To add to that, it's very important to look at the company's mission and value statement, because they usually have a one cultural fit round where they ask everything about that things.
That is a very good point that you raised. Like being culturally fit is more important than your technical skills in Australia. Yeah, and also I would also recommend everyone to focus on their interpersonal and communication skills as well. like how you carry yourself matters a lot over here, rather than your technical skills.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people at my workplace who are not technically superior, but because of the factors that you mentioned, being culturally fit, being a good team player, and having very good communication skills, they are able to successfully pursue data engineering.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
a good point. Yep.
Yep.
So that's it from our end. So
Yeah,
thank you very much for your time, Raghu.
No problem.
And it was quite a useful information.
I'm happy to help. And
Yeah.
all the best to everyone.
Thank you.